Hello, Charlotte and Mary. It's nice to see you again. Of course, I can't really see you. I just recorded this message for you. But I am thinking about you in Nicaragua, and I love you. And I hope you're having a good time with Mommy. And now it's time for another bedtime story from the Bible. Tonight, we have the story of Joseph and his very beautiful coat. It says, now Jacob, this is Jacob right here. That's Jacob, and this is Joseph, and those are all his brothers. Jacob had 12 sons, but of all his sons, Joseph was his favorite. One day, Jacob gave Joseph a splendid new robe. It was beautiful and rich, with all the colors of the rainbow, but it made Joseph's brothers jealous. They wanted a rainbow coat just like it. Then, to make matters even worse, Joseph kept on having these special dreams. Joseph kept having dreams and telling his brothers about it. He said, I dreamed I was the greatest. I was king, Joseph told his brothers, and you all bowed down to me. Now I'm going to make you know, even if Joseph didn't, that telling your brothers things like that isn't a very good idea. Joseph's brothers hated him even more. They wanted to kill Joseph and his dreams. Now one day, that's exactly what they tried to do. They tore Joseph's rainbow robe off him and sold him to slave traders for 20 pieces of silver. The traders took Joseph to Egypt and made him into a slave. The brothers went home and lied to their father, telling him that Joseph had died. And then they thought, that's the end of that dreamer. But they were wrong. God had a wonderful, magnificent dream for Joseph's life. Even when it looked like everything had gone wrong, God was going to make it all better, and he was going to use this to make his dream happen. God would use everything that was happening to Joseph to do something good. Meanwhile, though, things were not looking very good for Joseph in Egypt. He was far from home and far from his family. Then he got blamed for something he didn't even do. And even though he had done nothing wrong, he was punished and thrown into jail. But God was still there with Joseph. God is everywhere. One night, Pharaoh, that's what they call the king in Egypt, Pharaoh had a scary dream about thin cows gobbling up fat cows. What could that possibly mean, he wondered. He had no idea. But Joseph was a dream expert, so the Pharaoh sent for him. And Joseph said, it means a famine is coming. There's not going to be enough food. Pharaoh was so pleased by Joseph's skills that he immediately took Joseph out of jail and made him a prince. Now back home, Joseph's brothers had run out of food and everyone was hungry. God's special family was in danger. If they didn't get food soon, they were going to starve to death. So Joseph's brothers traveled to Egypt to buy food. They came and knelt down before the new prince of Egypt. His brothers didn't know that the prince was Joseph, but Joseph knew who they were. Joseph's dream, the one about his brothers bowing down to him, was coming true. And Joseph started to cry, it's me, it's me. When they saw it was Joseph, his brothers were scared. They had wronged Joseph. They tried to hurt him. They threw him in a hole and they sold him. So they were scared that he was going to be very mad at them and punish them. And they had sinned and they knew it. And now they were afraid that Joseph was going to punish them. But Joseph looked at his brothers and his eyes filled with tears. Even though his brothers had hurt him, and they had hated him, and they did want him dead, in spite of all that, he couldn't stop loving them. His heart, which they had broken, filled up with love, and Joseph forgave them. Joseph threw his arms around them. Don't be afraid, he said. Behind what you were doing, underneath everything that was happening, God was doing something good. God was making everything right again. See, Joseph was explaining that this was all really part of God's plan. God had planned all of this in order to help them all. Because now, when there wasn't enough food, Joseph was able to help them and save the special family. So Joseph didn't punish them. He rescued them. He brought God's special family to live safely with him in Egypt. And one day God would send another prince, a young prince whose heart would break. Like Joseph, he would leave his home and his father. His brothers would hate him and want him dead. He would be sold for pieces of silver, just like Joseph. And he would be punished even though he had done nothing wrong. But God was going to use everything that happened to this young prince, even the bad things, to do something really good. He was going to use that prince to forgive the sins of the whole world. And later on, we'll get to the next story. But I hope you enjoyed that story about Joseph, and I hope you have a very good night. I miss you, I love you, and I will see you soon. Mwah.